So yesterday, this activity we were discussing. I think the last was left, but I just told you right now. So would you consider any one group of organisms to be of primary importance? Why or why not? For that, I told you the answer. That producers are the answer for this question. Okay. And yesterday I was going through more questions. I found one more question was there, which can be related with this part. What question was there? Yes, that why forest ecosystem is more stable than cropland ecosystem. Okay, think to it. Can you answer it? Why forest ecosystem is more stable than uh, the cropland ecosystem? So answer can be this, that forest cropland, first of all, forest is which kind of ecosystem? Forest is natural ecosystem, and crop land, crop field is artificial ecosystem. So why forest ecosystem is more stable? Because that forest is a big environment, you can say it is a big ecosystem, and if any one of the organism is deleted in between or taken out from the food chain, then also you can say the organism who was feeding on that, it has alternate, so many alternate options are available, because forest is a big environment. Okay, so that's why you can say forest ecosystem is more stable than cropland. So cropland is artificial, which is grown by man. So that's why forest is natural. So it has more varieties of organisms living inside it. So even if one of the organism species is in lower in number, so then also the other organism has alternate options to feed upon. So that makes the forest ecosystem more stable than the cropland ecosystem. Understood? So like this, you have to relate. So next is food chains and food webs. So this already I told you that these kind of questions can be there, that you have to make a food chain or you on your own. Okay, or a group of organisms can be given and then you have to form a food chain out of that. So food chain, what are food chain? The very first question which can be asked from this is define food chain. Okay, so food chain is what? So we have formed a series of organisms feeding on one another. This series or organisms taking part at various biotic levels form a food chain. So food chain is, you can say it is a chain where the organisms are feeding on each other and they are fed upon by some or other organism also, right? So it is a series or organisms taking part at various biotic levels. Then second important question which comes from this is, what are trophic levels? What are trophic levels? So I told you the foremost organisms which comes in the food chain, that are producers. Okay. Then after that, what comes? After producers comes your primary consumers, then secondary consumers, then tertiary consumers, and quaternary can be there if they are present. Okay, and lastly, what are there? Lastly, decomposers are there. So these are the different levels of the food chain, and these levels are called, simply we call them trophic levels. Okay, so important question is there, that what are trophic levels? So each step, underline the very first line, each step or level of the food chain forms a trophic level. ठीक है, हर एक जो step होता है, I think it's shown here also. See, this pyramid is shown here. So this pyramid shows various trophic levels. Figure 5:15.2 trophic levels. At the first trophic level are the producers. Why the producers? Because only the producers has the capacity to convert the sun's light into the chemical energy. And moreover, one more thing, that producers are the, you can say, highest in numbers. Okay, if you compare, so that's why this pyramid goes like this. So these producers are the highest in number, then lesser to that are primary consumers, then so as the animals become bigger, so they become less in number. Okay, and you can say the energy flow also starts decreasing. So that is one law of energy is also there, that we will also discuss. That is very important one. Okay, so trophic level is clear. ट्रॉफिक लेवल्स क्या होते हैं? फूड चेन में डिफरेंट लेवल्स आर देयर. ऑन द फर्स्ट लेवल आर द प्रोड्यूसर्स, देन कम्स योर प्राइमरी कंज्यूमर्स, secondary and tertiary. Okay, so here also you can relate it with this, that first at primary trees, plants are there. Then primary consumer who feeds herbivores. Herbivores eat plants and animals. They are the primary consumers. Then who eats these deer? So lion or tiger, they are secondary consumers. And then when they die, so they are eaten up by the vultures. So you can say they are the primary, secondary, tertiary consumers. Okay, omnivores, you can say that. So trophic level clear. Each step or level of the food chain forms a trophic level. Now the autotrophs or the producers are at the first trophic level. I hope you understand. These lines are very simple to understand. Okay, so first level पे producers हैं. They fix up the solar energy and make it available for heterotrophs or the consumers. So what do the producers do? They fix up the solar energy and they make it available for heterotrophs or the consumers. And the herbivores or the primary consumers come at the second, small carnivores or the secondary consumers at the third, and larger carnivores or the tertiary consumers form the fourth trophic level. So you can say that in any food chain there can be only 4 or 5 maximum trophic levels. So यहाँ पे question बनता है that why do food chain have only 4 to 5 trophic levels? Why is it so? Because there is an energy law, 10% energy law is there, so that every level the energy gets on decreasing. Okay, so last level pay up to the last level there is no energy left to be transferred. So that's why according to the 10% law the energy starts decreasing at every level. So at the last maximum after fourth or fifth level there is no energy left which can be transferred to the further level. So that's why you can say the food chains have maximum 4 or 5 trophic levels. Okay, this is an important question which comes out here. So we know that the food we eat acts as a fuel to provide us energy to do work. Thus, the interactions among various components of the environment involves flow of energy. So what is that which is interacting between all the organisms? That is just the energy. Okay, so they all, you know that all needs energy to do so many different biological processes. So from one component of the system to another. As we have studied, the autotrophs, what do the autotrophs do? They capture the energy present in sunlight and convert it into chemical energy. Again, the things are being repeated here. So this energy supports all the activities of the living world. Okay, so what is happening in the living world means where all the plants or animals, microorganisms are there, what do they require ultimately? What is their need? So their need is to have energy to perform, to survive in this world. So from the autotrophs the energy goes to the heterotrophs and the decomposers. However, as we saw in the previous chapter on sources of energy, which we have not read yet, so when one form of energy is changed to another, some energy is lost to the environment in forms which cannot be used again. Okay, so when this energy is getting transferred from each trophic level to the higher one, so then some energy is lost in doing the various biological processes that an animal requires to do for its survival, right? So that's why it is said that why is energy decreasing here. यहाँ पे भी क्वेश्चन बनता है that why is energy decreasing at every trophic level? So energy is decreasing because this energy is getting lost. First of all, the animal also, it is using some of the energy for doing the activities, and then some of the energy is lost to the environment also, and then very little energy is left that will be transferred to the next level. Now how much is that energy, that also will come to know. So in which cannot be used again, so some energy which is lost that cannot be used again. So the flow of energy between various components of the environment has been extensively studied. So these flow of energy is studied by various biologists also, and it has been found that, so what they have found now, very important points are coming. These all points are very important and so many questions can be framed from these parts. Okay, so first study shows that what they found, that the green, underline this line, the green plants in a terrestrial ecosystem capture about 1% of the energy of sunlight that falls on their leaves and convert it into food energy. Now, what is the meaning of this? Meaning of this is, for example, you say that 20,000 joules of energy is falling from the sun on the leaves. Now you have to take out 1% of that 20,000. How much it will be? 1% of 20,000, is it 2,000? I think so. Okay, so you can calculate that. Based on this, I can show you one. Just wait. Okay, see, this is based on 10% law. Okay, so they say that plants, first of all, how much energy is falling on the leaves, out of that only 1% of the energy is used up by the plants. Okay, and then after 1%, how much percent will be transferred to the next level? That is the 10% law, which it says. So just see in the book, first of all, the green plants in a terrestrial ecosystem capture about 1% of the energy of sunlight. Okay, so ye आप just feed it into your mind that whatever light is falling on the leaves, uska sirf 1% the plant will use, and that falls on the leaves and convert it into food energy. When green plants are eaten by the primary consumers, a great deal of energy is lost as heat to the environment. As I told you, that whole of the energy is not transferred to the next trophic level. Out of that, some of the energy is lost as heat, and some amount goes into digestion and in doing work, and the rest goes towards growth and reproduction. That are all, you can say, the life processes which are going on inside the organism. So some of the energy is lost as heat, some of the energy is spent on the survival, or you can say to perform the biological processes, and how much is transferred to the next level? That is only 10%. An average of 10% of the food eaten is turned into its own body and made available for the next level of consumers. So this is very important. You will definitely have one or at least one question will be there in the board examination related to this on 10% law, and that will be in the form of the calculations. Okay, so how you have to do these kind of things? Very simple it is. Just understand the logic behind it. You'll be able to do if any this number digit is given. Okay, so see the question. The amount of energy that will be available to the plants from the sun is 20,000 joules. Okay, so what amount of energy, how much energy is falling on the leaves from the sun? That is 20,000 joules. Calculate the amount of energy available to lion in the following food chain. See how they have related. They have not asked directly. So they have given one food chain. First plant, it is eaten up by deer, and deer is eaten up by lion. So it is producer, primary consumer, and the secondary consumer. So what they are asking, you have to calculate that how much amount of energy will be available to the lion. ठीक है, जो लायन जो जिस लेवल पे है कितनी एनर्जी उसको मिलेगी if the total amount of energy falling on the plants is 20,000 joule. Now we know two things here, the 1% law and the 10% law. ठीक है, 1% law क्या है? That how much amount of energy is falling on the leaves, out of that only 1% will be used by the plants. So first of all, you can easily calculate. So plants observe 1% of the incident solar energy and convert them into chemical energy. ठीक है, so based on this law, 1% law पे अगर हम इसको calculate करें, so you can calculate 1% of 20,000, 1 divided by 100 into 20,000. So how much you will get? You will get 200 joules. So first of all, it is clear that 20,000 joules of energy is falling from the sun on the plants, and plants is able to use how much? According to 1% law, only 1% law, 1% energy will be used by the plants. So that is, you can easily calculate 1 over 100 by into 20,000. So 200 joules of energy. Now at the next level. So now we have to find, हमें किसका निकालना है, find out करना है, we have to find out of the lion. But we cannot directly find out, we have to go trophic level wise. Okay, so then according to the 10% law, we know that only 10% of the energy will pass from each trophic level. So we know that now at the producers levels we have 200 joules. Now you take out 10% of 200. Again, just do the simple calculation, 10 over 100 into 200. So you will get 20 joules. Okay. Again, now take out the 10% of 20 joules. Again, do the calculation here, 10 divided by 100 into 20, you will get 2 joules here. Okay, so you got the answer that what amount of energy will be available to the lion, that is 2 joules. So to herbivores, deer, and also 10% energy will pass from deer to lion. Therefore, the amount of available energy to lion will be 2 joules. These kind of questions, now have just tell you one example. Now based on this, so many questions can be framed by just changing the digits. इसमें कई बार आपको 1000 joules दे देंगे या 10,000. So any number if it comes, you should know, just applying the logic, applying the this law of 1% and 10%, you should be able to calculate the amount of energy present at the various levels. I hope it is clear. Is there any doubt in this? Okay, you just have to remember, this is very important. I'm telling you, 1% law and the 20% law. Fine. Now come to the next one. So what is the next point? So this point, 2 points are clear. First point is telling you about 1% of the energy of sunlight. Second one is telling about the 10% law. Only 10% of the amount of energy is transferred to the next level. So therefore 10% can be taken as the average value for the amount of organic matter that is present at each step and reaches the next level of consumers. Okay, now next one, see. So these again, from here also questions are there. So this all points, you can say NCERT book is so important. Everything you will find here if you will read it carefully. So that's why in the beginning it was told that you have to just mainly focus on the book. Everything is given here. Okay, next point, see. Since so little energy is available for the next level of consumers, we got to know, हमें पता लगा कि बहुत कम energy है जो next level पे जाती है, that is only 10%. Okay, so then that's why answer is there that food chains generally consist of only 3 or 4 steps. This I've already told you in the beginning. Abhi maine bataya that why does the food chain have only 3 or 4 trophic levels. So here is the answer that according to the 10% law, we know that only 10% of the energy is available for the next level of consumers, and that also goes on decreasing. So at the last there is no energy left which is to be transferred. अब आगे 200 का 10% निकालो, 2 बच गया, 2 का 10% point something 2 will come, then 0.2, 0.02, 0.000. So it will be very minimum amount of energy will be left to transfer to the next higher levels. So this is the answer here कि क्यों food chain में, why do the food chains have only 3 or 4 trophic levels? Okay, because answer is here that because very little energy is available for the next level of consumers. Clear? Underline these lines also. And the loss of energy at each step is so great that very little usable energy remains after 4 trophic levels. Okay, so I told you that very less energy is available. I already told you that you keep on taking out 10% of the amount of energy which you're getting after each trophic level. You will get very little energy at the last one. So out of that, उसमें से क्या खाओगे, क्या निचोड़ोगे, क्या आगे लेके जाओगे? So that will be there. Okay, so this whole thing is very important. So then next is there are generally a greater number of individuals at the lower trophic levels of an ecosystem. As I told you कि जो सबसे पहला level है, that is of the producer level, the green plants. So they are at the greater number. So they are always greater in number as you compare it with the higher levels. Okay, so they are green plants because green plants are found everywhere. So that's why they are greater in number. They are generally a greater number of individuals at the lower trophic levels of an ecosystem. जैसे जैसे आप ऊपर जाते जाओगे, so animals will become lower in number. The greatest number is of the producers. So सबसे ज़्यादा किसका number होता है? Producers का, green plants का. Then the length of and the complexity of food chains vary greatly. Okay, so length and complexity of food chains vary greatly. Why is it so? Because you know that it is not like that, that only one organism is having only one option of eating. Now just take example of human beings also. We just हम एक ही चीज, we are not only eating dal every day, we have so many varieties to feed upon. So same way, even the animals, the organisms in the food chains, they also have so many options. So that if the options are there, so that makes the food chains very complex. So that complexity of food chains lead to the interconnections of different food chains with each other. And then after that interconnection, you find a web of food chain. So that web of food chain is called food web. Okay, simply you can see here also food web consisting of many food chains. So what is food web? So food web, you just understand the word web. What is web? You know, spider's web. How does it look like? So बहुत ज़्यादा complex होता है, and everywhere the strings are going here and there. So same way food chain. Food chain is straight, but food web is not straight. Okay, food web is a complex food chain, you can say. So food web is a, you can say, many food chains, they combine with each other, they interconnect with each other, and then they form food web. So that's why we can say that the length and complexity of food chains vary greatly. Each organism is generally eaten by two or more other kinds of organisms, which in turn are eaten up by several other organisms. So it is not like that, that it is only one option is there कि एक ही animal को एक ही organism खा रहा है. So many alternate options are there. So instead of a straight line food chain, the relationship can be shown as a series of branching lines called a food web. Clear? So यहाँ पे भी question बनता है that what is food web? So what is food web? Simply it is the you can say relationship or the interconnection of various food chains are is called food web. Okay. Now next is from the energy flow diagram, two things become clear. Okay. Now which is the energy flow diagram? This one. So this is there in your book also. This is very important. Okay, energy flow diagram it is. So what it is showing, so you can figure out from the figure only that what it is showing. Okay, sunlight, then the energy is going to the producers, and then herbivores, carnivores, and the top carnivores. Then so what it is showing, so here also very important comes that why is the flow of energy always unidirectional? Okay, you can I hope you understood कि जो flow of energy है, why is it always in one direction? Why the energy is flowing to the producers only? Why then the energy again is getting back to the no, is going higher up to the herbivores? So why is the flow of energy unidirectional? Okay, so this is very important question here. Why is the flow of energy unidirectional? Answer is also here. The energy that is captured by the autotrophs. So जो energy autotrophs कौन हैं? जो अपना खाना खुद बनाते हैं, they are the green plants producers. So the energy that is captured by the autotrophs does not revert back to the solar input. ऐसा तो नहीं होता ना कि जो energy plants ने use कर ली है to make their food, it cannot go back to the sun again. ठीक है? So there is no, you can say, reverse flow. रिवर्स गियर नहीं है इनका, एक ही गियर है, ऊपर को जाते हैं ये. ठीक है? So they do not have reverse flow. So the energy that is captured by the autotrophs does not revert back to the solar input. Once the energy is used up by the green plants to make their food, that energy cannot go back to the sun again. And the energy which passes to the herbivores does not come back to the autotrophs. So once, now you know, once the green plants are eaten up by the herbivores, so then again they cannot take it out, and this they can release the same energy back to the producers. Okay, so that's why we say that the flow of energy is unidirectional, right? Hope you understood. So flow of energy is unidirectional. It is never coming back to the previous level. The energy that is captured by the autotrophs does not revert back to the solar input, and the energy which passes to the herbivores does not come back to the autotrophs as it moves progressively through the various trophic levels. जैसे जैसे higher level पे जाती है energy, it is no longer available to the previous level. Okay, so I hope you understood that I told you that it never comes back. The energy which is gone to the next higher level, it will flow up to only, because the carnivores will eat herbivores only. It is not that herbivores will eat carnivores. So it cannot happen. So that's why the flow of energy is unidirectional. Here also very important question becomes that why is the flow of energy unidirectional? Fine. Then they say, now here also again very important topics here, biological this magnification, very important topic, biological magnification. So what is that? Another interesting aspect of food chain is how unknowingly some harmful chemicals enter our bodies through the food chain. So that the excessive use of pesticides, fertilizers जितने भी use हो रहे हैं crops में, so they are unknowingly, they are coming into the roots, they are getting absorbed by the roots of the plant, and they are coming into our food also. So you have read in class 9 how water gets polluted. One of the reasons is the use of several pesticides and other chemicals to protect our crops from diseases and pests. So farmers are using these pesticides and chemicals to protect the crops from pests, but they are equally harmful if they get into the food chain and eaten up by the organisms and as well as by us also. So these chemicals are either washed down into the soil, जब वो प्लांट्स के ऊपर तो डालते हैं because they want to protect the crops from the pests, so they are spraying on the plant, but somehow that trickles down into onto the surface, onto the ground, and then absorbed by the soil. And then what is there in the soil, the roots of the plant, when they're absorbing water, so in that they can absorb these chemicals also, or into the water bodies also when it is going. So when they are getting into the water bodies, the same water is used for the irrigation of the crops, so then also they are they're getting entry into the plants from the soil. These are absorbed by the plants along with water and minerals, and from the water bodies these are taken up by aquatic plants and animals also, fishes and all. So they are also getting affected. So when we are also eating fish, so then also it becomes the, you can say, entry of the pesticides also, the harmful level of pesticides enter the human chain also. So this is one of the ways in which they enter the food chain. Okay, so you should know that how pesticides they enter the food chain. So they enter the food chain, either they are absorbed by the plants along with water and minerals when they wash down into the soil, or when they enter into the water bodies, then also they are taken up by the aquatic plants and animals, then also this is how they enter into the food chain. Okay, now as these chemicals are not degradable, so that these pesticides which are being used, so they are non-biodegradable, means they do not decompose. These get accumulated progressively at each trophic level. Now two terms come here. कौन सी दो terms है? Bioaccumulation and biomagnification. Okay, understand these two terms. Bioaccumulation means just the entry of the pesticides into the organism at the very first level. For example, the green plants. Okay, so they are the first level of the food chain. So producers, when the harmful pesticides are entering into the green plants, okay, then that is called bioaccumulation. Bioaccumulation means कोई भी organism के अंदर pesticides का accumulate होना. Okay, then after each trophic level, so now these green plants will be eaten up by the herbivores. Herbivores will be eaten up by the primary carnivores, and then this chain is going on. So when at each level, for example, at the starting point, green plant में अगर bioaccumulation हो गया है, ठीक है? Bioaccumulation means at the very first level, the entry of the pesticides into the organisms. ठीक है? So that is bioaccumulation at the very first level. Then after that, at each trophic level, when these are eaten up by the lower organisms, so that is, you can say, the level of the pesticides is increasing at every level. ठीक है, increasing means, the next level is herbivore. A herbivore is eating green plants, so he is what, along with the green plants which is eating, the pesticides are also entering inside the body. Okay, again at the next level also, so that is called magnification. I think in the physics you must have read this term, magnification. Okay, magnifying glass. So with magnifying glass you see the enlarged view. So same way, bioaccumulation at the first level, when the entry of the pesticides in the food chain, and biomagnification happens when these pesticides are transferred to each every trophic level, to the higher trophic level, so then it gets magnified. Okay, I hope these two terms are clear. Bioaccumulation at the first step, and then at each level it starts magnifying, that is called biomagnification. Okay, so these two things are clear. So this is one of the ways in which they enter the food chain, as these chemicals are not degradable, because ki chemicals degradable nahi hai, as it is they will be there in the body. So that's why, why so many types of diseases are emerging nowadays, because these harmful chemicals are used, pesticides are being used, which are entering into the our body also, so which are not degradable. So these get accumulated progressively at each trophic level, and uh, where it is, at each trophic level, and as human beings, so that we human beings occupy the top level in any food chain. So here also one question is there, simple question for 1 mark, that which organisms occupy the top level in any food chain? Human beings. Okay, or the question can be for 2 marks, that why do human beings occupy the top level in any food chain? Because we are not eaten up by any organism. Simple answer. Okay, so we are not eaten up by any organisms, nobody is eating us, so that's why we are at the top level in any food chain. So if we are at the top level at the food chain, we have some advantages also and disadvantages also. Advantages is that nobody is eating us, but disadvantage is that the highest amount of pesticides are accumulated in our bodies only. Okay, because we are at the top level in any food chain, so the maximum concentration of these chemicals get accumulated in our bodies. So this phenomenon is known as biological magnification, and this is the reason why our food grains such as wheat and rice, vegetables and fruits, and even meat contain varying amounts of pesticide residues. They cannot always be removed by washing or other means. Washing से तो आप ऊपर से की dust निकाल दोगे, but what about the pesticides which have entered inside the plants? So there is no as such process which can reduce the amount of pesticides inside the plant. So that can only be taken care when the plants are growing.